people have been speculating that it's entirely possible that they're transporting dead bodies out of the facility.
And we don't know exactly what is happening in there just yet. We don't know, why the ambulances are turning off their lights, because they're supposed to always stay on.
Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup.
This is Ashley with Status Coup.
On the ground.
In Philadelphia.
Flint, Michigan. East Palestine, Ohio. Please support the leading independent news outlet on the ground,
covering what the corporate media covers up.
Hey, it's Ashley Bishop with Status Coup. I am joined today by Urelis Mendez-Zamora to discuss the hunger strike currently going on inside of so-called Alligator Alcatraz, as well as what else we know about the conditions inside the detention center. Urelis works with American Friends Service Committee, and she is part of a coalition group working to both keep the public informed about the human rights violations and environmental rights violations taking place at Alligator Alcatraz. Urelis, thank you so much for being here, and we don't have you for very long today, so we're going to move through these things as quickly as we possibly can. And before we get started, can you just give viewers a quick rundown of what your organization does and the kind of work you've been doing with Alligator Alcatraz?
Absolutely. So I work with American Friends Service Committee, a Quaker faith-based organization that has been in existence for over 100 years. And for those over 100 years, we've worked for equity and we fought to make sure that everybody has dignity. Here in Florida, we've worked to shut down detention centers in the past, like the Homestead Children's Detention Center. And we're working in coalition with various organizations to shut down what the public knows as Alligator Alcatraz, but what we're calling the Everglades concentration camp, because of the fact that the conditions in there are so horrible. We're calling it out for what it is.
Thank you. So before we get into conditions inside the facility that led to this, I wanted to talk specifically about the hunger strike that's reportedly been happening inside, as you said, the Everglades concentration camp for, I believe, close to 2 weeks now.
From speaking to family members that have people in detention here, know that at least 12 people or so are in hunger strike. This is about the 12th day that they're in hunger strike. The problem is that, there's been a larger than average number of hospitalizations, and we know this because we're seeing the ambulances going in and out, over a dozen this weekend alone, and one while the vigil was happening. I mean, we saw it, we took video of it. And also they've been transferring people that are participating in this hunger strike to other detention facilities, I believe as a way of breaking up the strike. But I do know that at least 12 people engaged in this protest.
The first thing that I want to make clear is that this is something that's happening. DHS recently released a statement saying, no, that it's the false media. This isn't happening. That is a lie. We know that it's happening because we're in contact with detainees and their families. In fact, there was somebody who had been on a hunger strike at this point for over 12 days. And so what we also know is that they're transferring people out of the Everglades concentration camp to Chrome. And that way they can say there is no hunger strike going on because there's nobody on hunger strike. They're doing that to basically silence the voices that are in there. And when we're talking about what are the conditions that led to this, number one, this is a place that has no protection from the mosquitoes, has very little protection from the elements. We know that when it rains, this place floods. In fact, on the first day that it opened, there was a little bit of a summer storm here. If you're in Florida, you know that during the summer, it's always storming, and the facility flooded. You know, we've heard stories of people literally removing fecal matter with their bare hands out of the toilets. And so these are the conditions that are leading to the hunger strike. Imagine not being able to shower for 3 to 4 days. Imagine being somewhere in this Florida heat where the air conditioning can be shut down for up to 5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we've heard about conditions inside the facility are horrific and true, like human rights violations. And I do want to ask a little bit more about that. But since we don't have that much time, I did want to ask also, so what else do we know about the hunger strike? You're saying that DHS is denying that this is happening. They're transporting people to Chrome, which is another immigration detention center in Florida. So they're doing that to kind of, I assume, break up the hunger strike. So do we even know how many people have been on hunger strike? And you're saying we know at least one person has been striking for 12 days. How long has the group of people who have been hunger striking been on hunger strike for?
So I don't have the exact numbers, but what we do know that it is a group of Cuban and Mexican nationals so far that have been on this strike. That's what we know.
Okay.
The exact numbers I can't give you, but I can give you at least some of the demographics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, like, you are getting this information basically from families of people who are detained, and it's been extraordinarily difficult to get any information out of this facility because there isn't record keeping, and there is, the administration and those who are running it are invested in keeping the public uninformed about what's happening inside.
Exactly. And I think that one of the ways that they're also keeping people misinformed about what's happening inside is by repeating the talking point of criminality. It's only the worst of the worst. Well, here's what we do know. Number one, the majority of the people in there don't have a criminal history. And even if they did, nobody deserves to be kept in those conditions. Nobody deserves to be kept in a place where they are serving you spoiled food, where they are treating you like dogs, where they're taking away your dignity and your humanity. So that's one. Two, we know that this is a place, again, where people don't have access to their attorneys. Why is this so important? Because if you have an immigration case and you're trying to give your attorney all of the details so that you have due process, so that you have the opportunity to stay with your family, again, it's incredibly heartbreaking what's happening here. And we know that it goes against the laws. We know that this is a place that needs to be shut down immediately.
Mm-hmm. And in addition to all of these things, we have also been hearing from other activists and organizers that have been kind of monitoring, the facility, that there has been an influx of ambulances coming in and out of the facility. And one of the things that we've heard is that people are seeing ambulances going in with their sirens on and then leaving with their sirens off.
There are at least four or five ambulances that leave daily. And so for me, I know that we've had people on site. I haven't personally, but I know people have followed them to Kendall. And I think it's a shame that we haven't had more coverage of that, but it's because I guess the hospitals aren't reporting it. And I know they use a private ambulance service. This was today, an ambulance was pulling out of the facility. And as you can see, they have their lights on as they're pulling out. And as they turn and are driving to the east, heading towards what we believe to be Kendall, they will turn their lights off as they get down this road, whether it's because they're out of sight of us or there's not an emergency, I don't know, but it's strange to us that they turn their lights off and seem to drive the speed limit.
Why do you think they turn their lights on? Yeah, who knows?
At this point, again, your guess is as good as mine. They really don't seem to abide by, they play by their own rules.
And people are speculating because of that, that again, this has been occurring at the same time that the hunger strike has been going on. People have been speculating that it's entirely possible that they're transporting dead bodies out of the facility rather than people, who are in need of emergent care being taken to like the nearest hospital. I believe Kendall is the nearest hospital. Is there anything else that you can add about that, what people have been seeing?
So people have been seeing the ambulances come in and out, and we don't know exactly what is happening in there just yet. We don't know, why the ambulances are turning off their lights, because they're supposed to always stay on. And again, we're just trying to figure it out. We don't have a clear answer on that just yet, especially because the hospitals are also not confirming anything. So it just makes it harder to get real information.
Absolutely. So I guess, again, we have very limited time. So I would ask, as far as conditions that led to the hunger strike, is there anything else that you have been hearing from family members of detainees that you would want to mention here?
I think definitely the lack of access to medical care, right? We've heard about people who have had their family members transported to the hospital for emergency surgery, and then they don't notify the family. So we had a mother who didn't know where her son was for 4 days. I think what's also really incredibly heartbreaking was a story of a 15-year-old who was at the Everglades concentration camp for a couple of days, right? Because he got caught up in a sweep, and there are not supposed to be any minors in there because the conditions are that harsh. I think what
it's
I
supposed to
want,
be, I mean, a temporary facility as well. I mean, we were also hearing, just to, kind of add to what you're saying, it's supposed to be a temporary facility. We are, hearing reports from people that the dates on people's wristbands are being changed so that they can be there for longer than 14 days. I mean, there's a litany of things that are going on. There's also reports that people are having their phone access shut off. Like I believe it, after 10 p.m., people are no longer allowed to use their phones. So all kinds of things.
exactly. This is a place where I cannot stress enough how horrendous and how harsh the conditions are. This is a place where, quite frankly, I would be terrified to have my loved ones in. And this is sacred indigenous land for the Miccosukis. There are people who are being detained there unjustly. We know that the majority of the folks in there do not have any type of criminal history. And again, even if they did, they should not be held in those conditions. We know that there are people in there who are scared, who don't navigate the English language very well. We know that there are fathers in there who want to be reunited with their kids, who want to be at home, who want to be able to free themselves from the shackles of an immigration system that, quite frankly, does not work for anybody.
Absolutely. And we have just almost exactly hit the amount of time that you have for right now. So I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for letting us know, more about what's going on. And please do keep us updated on what's happening with the hunger strike. I mean, this is an important thing to let the public know is happening, especially, we know that DHS is trying to deny that this is happening. We've heard this from multiple sources now. So, again, it is an important thing that we need to know about right now. Again, Urellas, thank you so much. Is there anywhere that people can reach the work of your organization so they can keep up with what you guys are doing?
Definitely. So I would suggest for folks to go ahead and follow organizations like AFSC Florida, the Florida Immigrant Coalition, Florida Rising, Betty Osiolo, who's one of the Miccosukee elders, who is out there every single day making sure that people have the correct information. Those are the folks that I encourage your listeners to go ahead and to follow. And also, if you are in Florida and you have somebody who is missing, or you want to report an ICE raid, or you want access to legal help, there is a hotline. And the number for that hotline is 1-888-600-5762. Again, that number is 1-888-600-5762.
Urellas, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on. Please give your dog some pets from Status Coup, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.